Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. Welcome back to a Division 2 video. Today we're going over a new Pestilence build, and man, with a few changes to this became so much fun. Flying through the new game mode Retaliation with ease, so much minutes left, and next to our damage output we have our survivability, and yes, as you can see on the screen, those ticks will come in and we will be utilizing the Pestilence. And no, don't worry, we are not on glass cannon. So yes, we can still hit those high ticks without you getting extra damage applied on you as well. This also has a little bit more survivability, so yes, those ticks come in clutch, but you still survive. A lot of fun things to play around with. This is a great build. The Pestilence does a lot of damage as the gun itself, and then of course those ticks come in clutch as well. Without further ado, let's jump into the build. We'll showcase you a few more clips in between while I explain the build, but let's dive right in. Starting with our specialization, we are utilizing the minigun specialization. Why? That 10% armor on kill helps out a ton, as it also comes through with your ticks. So not only you shooting someone with your weapon, but if the ticks jump over and take someone out for you, this will also give you that 10% armor on kill. And then of course the third reload will be 50% faster, what comes in clutch for LMGs. The main weapon we're utilizing, and kinda the only weapon we're utilizing, is the Pestilence. The Pestilence is an exotic LMG. This comes for me with a 30% expertise, and you're gonna roll critical hit chance on there as your third attribute. You would ask, why not damage to armor? Multiplicative damage will do more. Only on a triple tick build, this will give you more output in the long haul. Always go for critical hit chance on your LMGs. That is the best third attribute to go for. And why is the Pestilence so good? Because of Plague of the Outcasts. Hits apply a debuff dealing 100% weapon damage over 10 seconds. This stacks up 50 times. Whenever an enemy dies with this debuff, 100% of the stacks are transferred to a nearby enemy within 25 meters. And this makes it so good to play Retaliation with. There are so many enemies attacking you, but there are 9 of the 10 times always grouped up. Take one out, build that stack on one of those enemies, and this will jump over to the rest of your enemies as well. The highest you can go is 1.5 to almost 1.7 million ticks. So whenever you reload, you will still do your damage. Whenever you are afraid of getting taken out, you just wait a little bit. That tick will do the damage. And this is then a debuff. It's not a status effect. If you want to boost this debuff damage, you need to go into more weapon damage, and that will give you higher ticks, up to that 2 million if you even go for glass cannon. Because these 1.5 millions that you see on the screen right now are without glass cannon. We don't utilize glass cannon. We have 20% armor on kill on this build. So this is a great setup for you to survive and still do a shit ton of damage. Secondary and pistol don't really matter. Go for something that you don't have proficient yet. Or, of course, you go into the new pistol. I would recommend that, especially for the new game mode Retaliation, as this comes with the new talent sports mode. 20% movement speed. This bonus does not stack with other movement speed bonuses, and it kind of works the same as the TDI card. The TDI card, of course, gives us that extra skill tier, but we need to hold the weapon for it to work. So this quick step, the sports mode, is not always active. You need to hold the pistol in your hand, and then you are 20% faster. And then again, that secondary, go for something that you don't have proficient yet. This will save you a lot of materials and or duplicates. And then, of course, jumping over to the overview of the build, and that's this. We're going for 3 pieces of Lengmo. So let's start with that and why. This will give us up to 30% LMG damage with the 3 pieces. Because this is a little bit of a different setup, as you can see, as we're going for the exotic gloves, you do not, I repeat, you do not have to find the unicorn chest piece anymore. I have the unicorn chest piece with obliterate on there because that's how I like to play with this build. Yes, glass cannon will give you more damage, but also will apply more damage to you. And that's why I personally chose to go for obliterate. Critical hits increase at total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds up to 20 times. So we're gaining an extra 20% weapon damage. And this, like you saw in the gameplay, can still give you that 1.5 to 1.7 million ticks. And then the third one you want to go for is the backpack. Perfectly unstoppable force on there. Killing an enemy increases total weapon damage by 7% for 15 seconds. Stacks up 5 times. So this will give us another 35% weapon damage. Again, everything towards critical hit chance and critical hit damages. Or you could go a little bit into weapon handling as well to even give this build more quality of life. The name of this backpack, by the way, is the Backbone. You have to find him with critical hit chance and critical hit damage on there, so you can roll the armor core away for weapon damage. Then jumping over to the knee pads, these are the Fox's Prayers. 8% damage to target out of cover, of course, on there for that extra multiplicative damage. Rolled critical hit damage on there, and then of course find it with weapon damage. And then the last piece of the high end is Palisade. This can again be, for example, Petrov. You go into a little higher of the LMG damages because that will give you an extra 10%. So the ticks will even be more. But we chose to go for Palisade, so we have 20% armor on kill whenever we or the ticks take someone out, and it gives you a decent amount of survivability. And then the last and good change that we did to this build are the Overdog exotic gloves. These are the new exotic gloves, comes with weapon damage, critical hit chance and critical hit damage, but it is all about the talent weakest link. Amplify weapon damage by 30% to the lowest ranking enemies currently in combat as per tier hierarchy. And then you have tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3. I know this only works on the lowest ranking enemies currently in combat. So the moment you take out more and more enemies, if you're then one-on-one with someone, that will always be the lowest tier enemy on the field. You can play a little bit more tactical and find out what the tier 3 enemies are to take them out first. But overall, you can just shoot whatever you like. And this comes in clutch and does a lot more damage than we expected it to do. And this is a great addition, almost a must-have addition in my opinion for this build. And then let's jump over to the stats real quick. You want to hit 55.5% crit chance and 141 crit damage. Or of course lower the crit damage a little bit, go into some weapon handling to make the gun feel even more like a laser. You won't miss your shots, you build up those stacks of the pestilence a lot faster and everyone around you dies. But that's pretty much it. Again, let's go to the overview. I like to use, of course, that Revive Hive, and personally I use the Riot Foam. We cannot use a shield, for example, with LMGs, and I like to foam them down, get them together, open up my gun on one of my enemies, stack up those ticks of the pestilence, and then they are always close to each other, so that tick will always jump over. Again, you can go for something different as well. You do not have to go for this chest piece. I went for Obliterate. This also will give you more damage if you go for Glass Cannon. You can also switch that Palisade around, for example, for another piece of a boost for your LMG damage with Petrov. In that case, you can also get then this chest piece away, because this is kind of a unicorn. You need to find it with crit chance, crit damage, and then the preferred talent. For me, Obliterate, so you can roll that weapon damage. But because we are now a little bit more free, we don't have to step into this chest piece anymore. You can also change the Palisade around with, of course, then Langmo, or you can go for a Gruppo chest piece, for example, or whatever chest piece you already have, and then change that mask around for Langmo. There are so many different options. You do not have to go for the unicorn chest piece anymore. And that's pretty much it. Another updated Pestilence build, and I kinda fuck with it. This is such a nice build. I didn't expect that the gloves would give us so much more damage, and especially within the ticks, giving us so much more damage versus the other build. Of course, for the other one, we built into a little bit more quality of life, so you have some weapon handling, but this, test it out. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this. And did you already run around with this? We've been testing it for a couple of weeks live on Twitch/IamPurePrime, having fun with the community, testing out certain setups of the build, and this is one of my favorites from this season. And again, this was not with any active modifier. Yes, I had the modifiers active, but no, there was no active modifier. Nothing that makes me invincible with the Zealoth or setting people on fire with sanitation. There's nothing wrong with it, but I always like to showcase the builds without the season active, so you can only be stronger. That's it for me. Thank you very much for sticking until the end. Like the video if you liked the video or helped you out in any way or form. And of course, if you're new here and or you want to be updated by the Division 2, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. And I will see you in the next one. Pure Prime out.